If you are new or simply haven't tried it yet, PowerPlay is a very interesting and complex system in Elite. It's one of the only ways Frontier has managed to place Elite simulation front and center. It's a really cool feeling to be able to take direct part in a 1-to-1 scale galactic conflict sim that manages to incorporate every major profession in the game in some way or another. Whether it be PvE, PvP, solo, co-op, whatever, there's a way for you to get something out of PowerPlay. So let's dive in. Firstly, you'll need to pledge to a superpower. You'll notice different powers give different items. The thing most people are going for are the PowerPlay modules. Now, an important note here, every power gives out every module. The difference between them is the order in which you receive them. The rewards exclusive to each power are some of the specific buffs for different playstyles. So, for example, bounty hunting gets a bonus under Lavany Duval, who is associated with the Empire, with the federal equivalent being Zachary Hudson. Now, again, an important note, every gameplay loop is available and rewarded by all powers. This is mostly for preference, so since I'm a fan of combat and I like PvE, bounty hunting, and wanted to be involved with a bigger power, I went with Lavany Duval. Now, once you are pledged, you'll see this screen. On the left is the power standings, which is basically just the leaderboard for most systems controlled by power. The text related to the PowerPlay cycle refers to the weekly server maintenance. When that happens, the PowerPlay cycle happens with it. This is when leaderboards and percentile payouts happen, as well as some PowerPlay states change on systems. Stuff like that. We'll get into more on what that means later. The center button, Your Power, is just the same info you were given when you were pledged. The right here starts with your weekly assignments. You have to complete them once to unlock your loyalty rank, which is what gives you your rewards. After that first time though, you never have to do them again, although they are worth pretty decent merits. More on that loyalty rank button. This is the main progression of PowerPlay. The more merits you earn, the higher your loyalty rank gets. And the rank grind is real, so don't feel too pressured to hit the grindstone on this one right away. Now, you don't have all those buffs and modules right away. They are gradually earned through the ranks. Real quick, these are the leaderboards back at that overview menu, which is pretty self-explanatory, just merits earned over the cycle. The notable part of it is the tiered weekly rewards. Top percentages of participation get more weekly pay. This is similar to the community goal system. Okay, so how do you earn merits? How do you actually play with the sim? And what gameplay loops are available? This is where the territory screen comes in. Now, this is much easier accessed in the Gal map, which has two different filters. The first one is a system state filter by power. There's like 6 states here, which is a lot, but we'll get into what all this means soon. The second filter is an activity filter, which lets you sort by the different types of activities and also lets you set a minimum player activity level. I'd recommend using this on the lowest setting because even on the lowest setting, there's some activity that is not accounted for. If you were to click on any star system, you'll see various scores and progression bars. You'll also see a list of activities you can do in the system. Now, these are not necessarily the only gameplay loops available there. These are your power-specific loops that are given a merit bonus and are likely related to that loyalty buff, when applicable, of course. This button down here to the right opens the pilot's handbook. At the bottom here is the activities section, which is where you can see all of the actual gameplay loops available. Now, the thing is the terminology here is a bit different from the system state filter, and this has caused a lot of confusion, so let me explain. The difference is the state filter is the current PowerPlay state the system is in. The book terminology is the type of action the player is doing. So acquisition gameplay loops apply to unoccupied star systems, which is a system no one controls. So it has to be acquired. Acquisition conflict refers to an unoccupied star system with multiple powers competing to take it at the same time, as long as both have crossed conflict threshold. Something to take note of here is control score and control points. Literally all that means is merits earned in the system basically. That's it. Conflict or contested systems, as it reads in the map, have 2 different thresholds, control and conflict. Conflict, as stated earlier, triggers the contested state. and control is the minimum required score to take the system. Reinforcement refers to a system your power controls. Exploited, fortified, stronghold within reinforcement systems is the level of control said power has in the system. Stronghold systems can contain Stronghold Carriers, which are comparable to Isola Prospect or Jameson Memorial outfitting. If you don't know what that means, basically, a friendly Stronghold Carrier has every ship and module available for outfitting. Some specialty stuff isn't available there, but most things you can buy are stocked there, which is a huge convenience. To find a Stronghold Carrier on the GAL map, look for this little dot on a Stronghold system. If no dot, no carrier. If dot, carrier. At least I'm pretty certain that's how that works. There's a surprising lack of information online about that. Undermining is what you do when someone else has control of a system and you want to take it from them. So again, that book tells you all of the gameplay loops under all of the different action types. Now a note on territory, every power can be openly hostile to you if you're in their territory and, not aligned with them. Although Frontier has toned down the aggressiveness pretty heavily since PowerPlay 2's launch. So one of my weekly tasks tells me to go to acquisition systems. Those are simply where acquisition gameplay loops are taking place for your power. So an unclaimed system that no one owns. Reinforcement means you own it. Undermining means someone else owns it. Conflict means multiple powers are competing to own it. Now, if you do run into any confusion and you try a gameplay loop and notice you're not getting merits, you might not be doing it in the right location. Do keep in mind a lot of these gameplay loops are contextualized to be happening locally. So bounty hunting isn't going to a system and accepting a bounty mission from it necessarily, more so killing a bountied target in the system. So for example, going to a Hazres, or if there's a boom state happening in the economy, you can go to a megaship and a pirate attack encounter could spawn. That will give you merits too. You could also find power specific signal sources and get power kills. Those are also scattered around generally as well, which also reward merits. So keep in mind that these gameplay loops may work a bit differently than what you're expecting them to from typical mission gameplay loops and stuff like that. Also, when it comes to acquisition gameplay or undermining, some of that might be a little different. For example, I think for some of the trading gameplay loops, you need to source them from a system within a certain radius of that system. There's going to be some trial and error here, ultimately, because this is Elite Dangerous and learning it is part of the experience. And, I don't want this video to be an hour long. I'd like to keep it relatively short. But with that said, you hopefully have a pretty decent understanding of how PowerPlay works on a fundamental level. And now, hopefully, you can just choose what profession, what gameplay loop you want to do, and you can head out there and start experimenting. If you did find this video helpful, a like and a share would be greatly appreciated. Let me know your thoughts down below on PowerPlay, if you've given it a shot yet, or if you're looking to give it a shot. Thank you for watching. I'll see you around.